What is up, guys? In today's video I'm going to be going over how you can unlock the SypherPK skin early and for free. So there's going to be a cup that you can compete in that will allow you to unlock this skin for free. If you guys do enjoy this video or find it helpful and informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below if you're going to get this icon skin. So for starters, go over to the compete tab, and the amount of players that unlock the skin, what placement you need, depends on the region you play in. So check that out. It's in the compete tab. It's the SypherPK Cup. And this tournament, interestingly enough, has two different ways to earn it. There is the regular leaderboard, which would be like how tournaments typically go. You get points for kills and for how well you place in the game and or winning the game. And then there's a separate leaderboard for players who get the most eliminations with the SypherPK Trap Tower item. This is going to be an exclusive item that is going to be in this cup only. I'm going to be focusing on the traditional style because I don't know how to kill people with the trap tower. You throw it down, hopefully they walk into it. But it seems like it's going to be more convenient to just play the game normally, I think. So, for starters, unlike with recent skin cups, this skin cup is duos. So several of the skin cups that happened towards the end of last season were squads. And with duos, it's much easier to find a viable loot spot. With squads, you need a spot that has enough loot for 4 people, and that can be rough. But with duos, you only need a place that has suitable loot for 2 players. So more shambles or low-key loot spots can work out quite well, and you don't necessarily need to land at a POI. And if you aren't super confident fighting, I would recommend just not landing at a POI because the risk really isn't worth the reward if you aren't confident fighting. If you're really confident fighting, go for it. But you only have 10 games and you need to maximize how many points you get in those 10 games. So I'd recommend landing somewhere more shambles, somewhere more low-key. Go over it with your teammate and where you guys enjoy landing. If you are looking for a spot, one that I can recommend is going to be this farm here on the edge of the left side of the map outside Greasy Grove. There's a good amount of loot here. There's a good amount of slurp barrels for guaranteed shield. There's a good amount of mushrooms. And there's actually a vault nearby this location, and you can, loot the farm and then loot your way to the vault. You should get a key in that time, and you only need 1 key to open this vault. And you'll be able to open the vault, get 2 legendary chests, plus more slurp barrels, plus additional normal chests. I think this could be a pretty good loot path for this tournament. It might be contested, but odds are you aren't going to have to fight like 5+ teams off spawn. You might have some games where that happens, but this can be a more consistent way to start the game. And typically I feel like early game is where the game is most random. You're landing, how well your drop is really matters, what weapon you land on really matters, like what your teammate does. You can just get unlucky in so many different ways. So having just a consistent loot path that you can play out every game and minimize some of that early game RNG, I feel like goes a large way in like making your placements more consistent. And this is a tournament format that is heavily weighted on placement. So I think you want to play for endgame as much as possible. People often misconstrue this as just doing absolutely nothing all game and just hiding on edge of zone. And that might be good for you depending on the zone. But I just mean keep endgame in mind more so than anything. Some people get too greedy for kills and they push into everything too much, and then they end up getting third-partied and they just die. And when you die, your potential to gain points in that game is over. And typically with tournaments, it might not always be the case in these lobbies. Sometimes the skin cups are a bit more casual, but typically the end games are decently populated. So if you make it in game, not only are you going to get your in game placement points, you're going to get a decent amount of easy kills. If you set yourself up properly in zone and you get the right spot, or you just get good timing, whatever, you can pick up a lot of easy kills in game and just like third party fights with things like the DMR, the sniper, the hammer AR, which we'll get to in a bit. And it's just so much easier to get kills in-game, and you're also getting your placement points. So I would say play for in-game as much as possible. You can play super aggro if you're confident fighting and your teammate is really confident fighting too. But I feel like odds are if you're watching a video like this, you're probably not the most confident fighter. So I feel like you want to just play for in-game as much as possible. And what is going to be huge for playing for in-game is going to be the porta bunkers, or maybe even the trap tower. The trap tower, you could throw it down and use it as cover. Both of these items are kind of like the porta fort, where it's a grenade that you carry and then throw, and then it creates that structure. The porta bunker is the replacement for the porta fort, and it isn't as good, but it's still going to be the best source of cover you're going to get in these games. If you're unable to find them, cow catchers will also do, but you want to maximize how many porta bunkers you have. If both you and your teammate can carry 2, that's going to give you several potential zones that you can last into the game. Also, mobility is huge. Shockwaves are really good. Even the Chrome Blob, I feel like, could be really good for this sort of thing. I don't really care for it too much in public matches, but in a really chaotic endgame where there's a lot going on, just putting down the Chrome Blob and being able to rotate and reposition that way and then get into zone and then throw another porta bunker when you're like in zone could be the way to go. That was a really common strat last season for Zero Build comp, is people would throw porta forts and then kind of chill in the bottom of it, not really drawing attention to themselves. Because when you're in game and there's a lot of people in game and you start shooting one team, not only are they going to shoot you back, but other people are going to third party, and drawing attention to yourself oftentimes can be the end of your game. So just chilling in the porta bunker in like the little under part, and then popping your goo or chrome splash, and then like rotating into zone that way, and then popping another bunker, and just kind of rinse and repeating until the lobby is more thinned out and less chaotic, can actually be a really good way to play the game. If you have, you know, ideal zone, you can take advantage of that for sure. But if you're in a more like scuffed location, this might be a good way for you to play and get consistent placement easily and safely. I think that the Chrome Blob will be much better in this than in public matches. I don't really care for it too much in pubs, because if someone shoots you, you get knocked out of it. And if you're trying to push somebody with it or get away from somebody with it, it's really easy for them just to shoot you, and then you're out of it. But if you're using it in a more sneaky manner, I think it could be quite good. I think for this, I would probably carry the Chrome Shotgun. I think the Chrome Shotgun is just the best in Zero Build. Either the Hammer AR, the DMR, heals, the porta bunker, and then the last item would really come down to like maybe the sniper. I think the sniper can be quite good. Not only does it one shot, but with how chaotic these in games can be, just being able to throw out 100 damage body shot and potentially steal some kills or like, you know, grief some players can be really nice. Or, you know, mobility like shockwaves or the Chrome Blob could do quite well. And you can actually throw the Chrome Splash on your porta bunker to increase its health. Same thing with the cow catchers. You can put the Chrome on that, or just natural structures like trees and rocks. You can reinforce them with the Chrome Splash. So the Chrome Splash is actually a really versatile item and might be worth carrying over shockwaves. One nice thing about shockwaves in Zero Build comp is that you can use them to get people off of structures. So like if a team has a mountain, it can be really difficult to deal with them. But if you shockwave yourself up and then shockwave them off of the mountain, sometimes that can be like the only like play worth making. But so much of endgame is situational decision making. I can't really just tell you in this video how to play endgame perfectly. It's something you just have to get experience with and make the decisions in the moment. Every game is so different, and each situation requires different plays, and that's what makes Battle Royales such, you know, popular games for so long, is that each game is different. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the way the matchmaking works in these tournaments, because if you don't play the cups often, you might not be familiar with this, but the cups match you based on how many points you have. So if you have a pop-off game 1, let's just say you get like 20 kills in the one you fried, it's going to give you harder lobbies after that because you have a lot of points, and it's going to match you with other people who did really well in their first game. So if you do just have an insane game 1, it might be beneficial, or at any point in the tournament. If you have a really insane game and you jumped up a lot of points, it might be beneficial for you to like wait a few minutes to queue. That way more people can catch up, and then you might get a slightly easier game and you're not wasting games, because you only have 10 games to play, you know? Let's say you pop off game 1 and you do really good, you get a lot of points, and then games 2 and 3 are really hard and you don't really get much points. That time was kind of wasted anyways, and those games were wasted, so you might have been better off just waiting a little bit to queue. This would really depend on your situation, but like if you feel like you have too many points or your games are just too hard, taking a short break can actually make your games easier in these, and you end up not wasting as many games as you would be otherwise by just like rage queuing. And yeah, that's just really big. With Zero Build, the games go really quick, so I feel like you can definitely make use of that 3 hours and stretch your games out if you need to. And that can be a really big deal for a lot of people. So if you feel like you popped off and you're not really at that level per se, take a break. Let the other people catch up and waste their games, and then you can like kind of pull ahead later on. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful, informative. If you did, remember to give it a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of the SypherPK skin, and I hope you guys end up unlocking it in the cup. Thanks for watching.